Hello community, my name is Aayush Kumar and today I am presenting the Flutter animations best practices for delightful UX. So let's start the presentation. So first, why the animations matter in user experience? There are some reasons that we are using animations. Oh, we don't want to make our apps boring with the point of view from the user. So let's see some points why we use animations. So first one is engagement. So using animations, there is the user is interesting in our application. So that's why we can engage the user in the functions of the application. Second is feedback. So animation it uh, allows the user to interact with the application, interact with the surrounding of the application. Like if we there are some applications there, as you can see, if he clicks on this button, there is some sort of animation that helps the user to allow to interact with the app and he understand that this is working. There are some operations which are happen in the app. Second is navigation clarity. So we want to navigate from one page to another page in our application. We can show some animations from one page to another, and it will like show the user that we are from one page to another. This is the next page, and this is the previous page. So, like you can see in the second example, we are navigating from one page to another page. Uh, Fourth one is delightful factor. It enhances the user experience, overall app experience. So that's why we use the animations in our apps. Now moving to the next one. Now, before starting the coding thing, that how we can implement the animations in our applications. Uh, Basically, I will be focused on code-based animation in this presentation. Before jumping to the coding, uh, we should see some animation concepts. So we will encounter these terms later in the apps in the coding. So these are some terms. Let me explain these terms one by one. Animation for the animation, animation controller, and doing. The first one is animation. Uh, Now, an animation object knows nothing about what is on screen. So we have to give it a clue that what we are want to animate. So animation is an abstract class that understands its current value and its state. Uh, we are storing some current values of that animation, like animation double. It tells that there is a double which will be animating, increasing from like 0 to 1. So we are telling the app that this is a double type of animation. This is a color type of animation. That color is changing from like white to yellow, white to blue, and there it could be animation size. So the size will be from 16 pixels to 64 pixels. So the output might be animation object might be linear. It could be a linear type of curve, a curve thing, a step function. So let me show you this in the next slide. So there can be some curves in the animations. The curved animation define the animation's progress as a non-linear curve. So we want that the animation should start slowly and then increases rapidly. Then we can use some sort of like this is the curves bouncing. You can see here. So first there will be some slowly and steady animation, and then it suddenly increases its rate. Uh, the second one you can see is curves ease in. So here it is like a quadratic curve. You can see more curves animation here. This is the syntax that we have to give it a controller, and then we have to define which type of curve we want to use. Now we will see the controller here, animation controller. So now we want to control its duration, animation duration that we want it for 2 seconds, 400 milliseconds. We can give different type of duration in different type of units. So animation controller is a special animation object that generates a new value whenever the hardware is ready for the new frame. So it will generate a new value for the animation object, like for the double. We want it from 0 to 1, basically from 0 to 1. Then it will generate a new value each time, like 0, 0.1, 0.10, and 0.20 for in the duration of 2 seconds. So that's what the animation controller do. So when creating a animation controller, we have to pass a vsync argument. Basically, vsync we can pass it by single ticker provider mixin. Now, what is this ticker provider? Let's see this ticker. So ticker, it is like a stopwatch timer. It is continuously ticking and updating animations or states in Flutter. So like we are moving from 0 to 10 seconds. So there is a stopwatch type thing that will count the seconds like 0, 1, 2, and each second we are updating our animations. So this function is this stopwatch kind of function is done by ticker. So a single ticker provide a mixin. Basically, mixin is the term used in Flutter if we want to inherit more than one classes in some classes. Uh, we basically, if you want to inherit only one class, then you would use extend keyword. But if you want to add more than one, indi inherit more than one class, then you will use mixin. So single ticker provider mixin we will use when we have to provide only one ticker. Basically, if we want only one animation controller in our class, so we will use single ticker provider mixin. Else we will use the ticker provider mixin, just ticker provider mixin. In this, you can use any number of tickers. The next thing is twin. Now, basically, most of the animation ranges from 0 to 1, double type of animation. So that if you want to some custom type of animation, like you want from a minus 200 to 0, you want size, like size of an uh, widget from 16 pixel to 64 pixel, then you would use the twin. The twin will take a start value and end value. So a twin inherits from animatable, not from animation. So an animatable like animation doesn't have to output double. So like animation, it will output, it always outputs a double. Okay, but animatable, it's not necessary that it will only output a double type of double data type. So for example, we can have a color twin. So it could be progression between two colors. So begin value is color store transparent and color store black 54. This is the shade. So this is all about the twin. Now, these are some uh, keywords that will be used later in the coding. Uh, Now I move to types of Flutter animation. Basically, I told you that we would see only the code-based animation. So code-based animation in Flutter can be divided into two parts, implicit animations and explicit animations. So implicit animation are further implicit and explicit both are further divided into built-in and custom implicit and explicit animation. So now let's see them one by one. So let's start with animations. So first is built-in implicit animations. Now Flutter have a series of widgets that are animated version of existing widgets that you probably already used in your applications. Like you use the container. So there is a animated version of container that is animated container. For the position widget, there is an animated position. So these are built-in implicit animation. So we can't control most of the thing. Only we can control the duration and curves in this. All the things are not controlled by us. We can control the duration and curve only. So for the built-in animations, Flutter has a convention of naming its implicitly animated widgets animated foo. So these widgets, which are implicit widgets, these are generally called animated foo, and where foo is the property that will be animate. So let's see an example for this built-in widget. There are more examples for the implicit digit like animated controller, animated crossfade, animated default text style. You can see this on this widgets animation in the Flutter docs. Let me move to the Android Studio. So first we will see. Let me firstly show you that what we want to make. Let me run my application in the emulator. Mhm. This taking some time. For that time, we can see the code. Like firstly, we define a duration. We give the duration for what time the animation should be done. Like for 400 milliseconds is the duration. Uh, we give some random border radius. What I want that uh, there is just a simple app. Okay, now it's so when I click on this change button, the shape and the color should be changed, and it should be a animation type of thing. So like so it changes from circle to a green box kind of thing, and again its size also changes, size, shape, and its color. You can see I can change this duration to seconds so that it can be visible. Seconds, like 2 seconds. Okay, let's change. You can see it expands slowly. Uh, so what is basically here? We define three main things that which want to change the border radius, border margin, and we want a random color. So these are just this function returns a random border, random margin, and random color. So in the main, so we define three variables: one color, double color, border radius, and margin. So in the init state of the app, we will define that the color will change to a random color, random border radius will be chosen, and a random margin will be chosen. So now in the main build function, there's a animated container. Main thing is our animated container, and here we define the duration if we want for the 2 seconds, the animation we want to it for 2 seconds, and curve is so it will bounce in out. So you see that when I click on it, there is some type of that it bounces and then changes. So this kind of animation is due to this curves bouncing out. You can uh, use many other curves also here. Uh, so this is just we are controlling the curves and duration. That is why it is built in implicit. We are not explicitly controlling it. When we are controlling explicitly, we would give an animated controller to the animation. Okay, now move to the second one. So yeah, second one is custom implicit animation. So when you want to some changes, like you see types of built-in implicit animation. But if you need to create a basic animation and none of those built-in animation are what you are looking for, then you have to create an animation with twin animation builder. I have told you the twin. What is the twin? That it takes some range of the value. Let's see it also in the code. So let me see firstly. This is the twin builder. Twin builder example. Change it here to twin animation. Twin builder example. Okay, let me first run it. Now, what I want in this app, uh, I want a widget in which the color will change from there is an image and I want a color filter on that image and that color filter will changing its color. So there is an in the app you can see there is an image of sun and there is a color filter on this image which is changing its color from white to red. So there is no implicit built-in implicit widget which is changing the color of color filter, which is using the color filter. There is no animated color filter widget. So I have to create one with the twin builder. So basically, let me, there is a twin animation builder here, which is taking the color value, and the twin is a color twin here. You can see this is the animatable, not animation. So animation always give a double value, but animatable can give a color value also. That is why we are using the color value here. We define the duration and then just it is changing its color from the white to red. These are just some code, some logic of the animation you can see. So there is the main thing, main widget, color filter. You can see the documentation, Flutter documentation for the more details about the color filter, but it is just taking the color filter and its child is a basically image. So you want to change its color, not the image color, but there is a filter over the color which you want to change. So there is no implicit. That's why you use twin builder. So second one is this. Now moving to the so these are the implicit animations. Now move to the explicit animations. Now in for the explicit animations, you have to define animated controller. So built-in animations. So explicit animations require an animation controller. They are called explicit because they only start animating when explicitly asked to. So these implicit animations, we are not controlling that when they will be start to animate, and we have to just change their duration and cost. But for the explicit animation, we have to tell the animation explicitly that when it has to start and stop. So you can use explicit animations to do everything. You can do with implicit animation plus a little more. You can do a little more. One more important thing, these are also the extension of animated widgets. These are simply the extension of animated widgets. They inherit from the implicit animated widgets. So these are the some types like size transition. Basically, these are the transition widgets. We want some transition. So let's see the example of this also. Building explicit. So we are changing it to the transition example. Transition example. Now see what we want. What I want. This is basically image. Uh, like it is the galaxy, not the liquid galaxy. It is the Milky Way galaxy, and I want to rotate it when I click on the tap button. This is the tap button. So I am explicitly telling the app that when I tap this, I have to animate the image or animate something in the image. There is some transition. So this is the rotational transition. So how we could achieve that? So basically, now we have to use an animation controller, which will tell that it has to start, it has to stop, and it has to repeat the animation. So the first thing here, you have to see that we have to add a single ticker provider mix in here with our class transition example. And we have to then just declare animation controller. Here I have declared the animation controller. Second, the animation controller you have to define in the init state of the app. So just you have to give it a vsync. Vsync, this is a ticker provider, which is this. A class itself is the ticker provider, and we have give the duration for the animation that it will rotate for 15 seconds. Then in the dispose, when we dispose the app, close the app or the page, then it has to dispose. Now, this is basically the structure. There is a stack and there are children. Here I use the rotational transition, and the child of the rotational transition is this image. And I have give it a alignment that it should align to the center, and the turns, that how much it should turn, it will be decided by the animation controller itself. The animation controller itself calculate, like I have given the 15 degree, so it will divide the 360 degree by 15 to calculate that in the one frame how much it will rotate. So this is animation controller. Now we have just time stopper, which here we provided the animation controller. So basically, this is a gesture detector. On when I click on this gesture detector, the animation, the controller would stop if it is animating. If it is animating, the controller will, like if it's animated and I tap, now it is stopped. And if it is not animating, then the animation would start. So this is the repeat, that when the animation will complete, it will start to repeat this thing. There is just a container for this just a detector. Okay. So I hope built-in explicit animations are clear here. You can see more examples and more in-depth knowledge on the official Flutter documentation. I would recommend to give it a watch. Now, the second is custom applications or explicit animations. So now, when you want fine-grained control over animation by manually controlling their progress, now you want to control their progress also. So you don't want that animation controller itself calculates at how much it should turn. And if there are none of the built-in widgets can do what you are looking for, then it is time to build your own. So explicit animation can be done by two methods. Like you can use the animated widget or you can use the animated builder. So let's see example of both. So firstly, animated builder example. So how now if you want a shape to be animate and its color to be changed, like you want to uh, animate a triangle, but there is no triangle type of container. You have to change its shape. You have to make it a custom type of animation. So then you have to use the animated builder or animated widget. So this is the first example, which uses the animated builder example. So let me just start, and firstly, let me show you that what we want from the app. It is taking some time. Basically, there is an image, UFO image, and we want light from that UFO. Let me stop and start this. Why it is not running? No, firstly, the things we start with the same steps, like giving it a single provider, ticker mixin, and we declare animated controller. And there is a image which we will use, UFO image here. Okay, there is some problem. Why it is not starting? Okay, I hadn't changed it there. animated builder example. I have to change it here also. Animated builder example. So that's why it was not working. Just okay. This is the UFO, and you want this type of like this is a beam from the UFO, and you want this type of animation. Then how could you do this? So it is basically a triangle, and its color is also a gradient one. So how you could do this? So in the entity state, I have defined the animation controller, and it is I am here declared that it will be a repeated type of animation. So this is the main thing that here I have used a animated builder, and this is the controller for this animated builder. Then animated builder uses a builder function here, and here I am using a click path. So this is the main thing which like a container is there, and I want to clip a shape from the this triangle shape from this container. So here I will use the clip path. So what will be the clipper for it? There is a beam clipper, which is explained uh, here. So beam clipper, and there is just a box with a gradient of color, yellow to transparent. And its animation is from the 0 to animated value. The animated value will be controlled from the this animation. Okay, now so there is a beam clipper which extends the custom clipper. Custom clipper is used for making the custom shapes. In the Gemini logo example, in the task 5, we have to build the Gemini logo. So there are some shapes that uh, we have to create. So that shapes can be created by this custom clipper. So I have created those shapes using this custom clipper and custom painter also. So it is just you can see it is generating a path. So this is the center of a container. We start from the center, and it just go to the this is the x coordinate, and it is the y coordinate. So how you will make a triangle? First you will go to the center of this container, and then the corner point, right corner point, and then the extreme left corner point, and then again come to the center. So this is just the thing that line to the center, and then center from center you have to go to the extreme right corner. This is the coordinate of extreme right corner, and these are the coordinate of extreme left corner, and then again come to the center of the container, and then just close the path. So that is how you can have a custom shape. So you can see more examples of the custom clipper in the docs official documentation. So this is the first method of doing this. So hope you ex understand this, that we are using a click path for making the custom animation shapes. So, but there is a problem in animated builders that sometimes the code must be should would be large. So you want to refactor that, but you might end up with a build method inside another build method. You see here that within this widget animated builder, there is a build method. So if you are refactoring it, put this in another build method, then there will be a build method inside another build method, which is dead end. So instead, extended animated widgets can be used. These help separate the animation logic into a reusable widget. So there the animation is logic was there itself in this build method. This build method itself contains the logic of the animation. So from stop 0 to, and this is the animation controller. So, but animated controller helps separate the animation logic in a reusable widget. There we will use a widget. So this makes your code cleaner, more readable, and more efficient. So let's see how it is done. This is the animated widget example. Let me change it here. Animated widget example. So it is the same thing here. Just what's changed here? Uh, you can see it is same. We have provided a ticker. We have provided a UFO image and declared the animation controller, defined the animation controller here. And the main thing is here that we are using the beam transition, which is the extension of animated widget. Instead of using that animated builder here, we are using the beam transition. Now, in the beam transition itself, there is a logic of the animation. So it is taking the animated controller as an input. And here you can see in this, there is a clip path. Okay, it is using that custom clip path here, beam clipper from here that I have told you that it is a triangle. So using this uh, animated widget, the logic is not inside this build function. So there is no build function inside another build function, and there is no confusion. The code is refactored. You can reuse this beam transition anywhere. You don't have to create a new build method. So hope you understand all four kind of animation, code-based animation in the Flutter. So now the if you just this is the conclusion that if you want to use the some built-in animation, you can have them in the Flutter library, and you want a just easy animation, you can use the built-in implicit animation. But if you can't see the in the implicit built-in animation, then you can use a twin animation builder. But even if you want to explicitly control all your animation, then you have to move to the explicit animation, which is just some harder from the uh, implicit animations. So these were the animated food, and these will be the food transitions. We have to move from the animated food to food transition. And even if you can't find a built-in explicit animation, you want some custom shapes to be animate, some custom animation scale, then you have to use the animated widgets or animated controller. And even if you can't make a shape using the clip path, then and custom clipper, then you have to use the custom painters, which are the hardest, which can't be controlled in this session. You can refer to the Google Flutter documentation for them, and there are tutorials over there for the custom painters, custom shapes you can create from them. So these are all about the animations. Hope you understand all the thing. I tried my best to even if there are some doubts, I will give the resources in the chat, and you can ask some doubts in the chat box also. Thank you. This is Aayush Kumar. Let's meet in the next presentation.